Guys, I failed you, and I apologize. What happened? Let's dive in and find out. Hurricane Debby has delayed over 10,000 flights and is the root cause of over 2,400 cancellations. But how did it impact our dive trip, and what did I learn about planning the dive that will give you the best chance of accomplishing it? Hurricanes every year cause billions of dollars worth of damage and plenty of additional lost revenue in tourism travel. Divers like you and I are always at the mercy of the weather and the water in which we dive into. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, then you know that I like to travel to different places and dive sites so that I can test out the waters and give you a report on how the experience was and make a recommendation as to whether I believe it is worth your time and money. Be sure to stick around to the end because I'm going to share what I learned from the experts on how to give yourself the best chance to dive an amazing wreck in the area that I was in. Well, this past week, we loaded up the truck and headed north to the graveyard of the Atlantic, North Carolina. Have you ever heard of the saying, when it rains, it pours? Well, this was true both literally and figuratively. Now, this was a trip that I had been looking forward to for almost a year. I made a stop along the way to see the unfortunate event of my Manchester United Red Devils losing 3-0 to Liverpool. Little did I know that this was going to be a preview of events to come. After the match, I made the drive over to Morehead City, North Carolina. The primary reason for this trip was to explore the wreck of a German U-boat, the U-352, that was sunk approximately 30 miles off the coast during World War II. Now, myself, like I'm sure many of you are, am obsessed with history, and this war, like many others, impacted us by its effects on our grandparents. There are other U-boats along the coast of the US, but this one is still within the recreational limits and reachable by a larger number of divers. I figured I would at least head over to see if I could get 1 or 2 dives in before the hurricane arrived. Now, when I arrived, there were already storms in the area, and I knew that Hurricane Debby would be making her way north as the week progressed. But I held on to my optimism for a break that would allow me to enter the water. The reason why I was hopeful was because sometimes a hurricane's projected path can be significantly changed from its original projection. This happened with the Hurricane Ian in 2022. His original path was set to be for the Big Bend area of Florida, up near Panama City Beach. As time progressed, the path moved to the south and he eventually made landfall in the Sarasota area, a significantly long way away from where it was originally projected. Now, the reason why I didn't call off this trip was because there was a chance that this could happen again, and even if it didn't, then at least I would be out of town if there was significant damage. So I was in Morehead City and I planned to go out with Olympus Dive Center. I had hoped to do one of our in-shop interviews where I talked to the shop staff about the products and the services that they offer to divers and show you their operation. I sent multiple emails detailing the project and I didn't ask for anything in return. I paid out of pocket for all travel expenses and would have done the same for the dives. But nobody ever responded, so I apologize for that. Some things I can tell you about the shop is that it was extremely organized and clean, which is always refreshing to walk into. They are a Scuba Pro Platinum dealer, so you will see a lot of those products, and if you need service, they have everything that you need. The service techs were actually the most friendly staff at the shop. We were able to have a discussion about diving, gear, and locations. The shop is right there on the dock by their boats, and they have a fill station with nitrox readily available. They also have a dive lodge available right by the shop if you want to avoid pricey hotels or Airbnbs. They are a shared room with bunks, so it's kind of like a camp style, and there are numerous restaurants in the area. It was clean and well maintained, so it's a great option if you'd like to save money. At the time of recording this video, the price is $45 per night. Like I said previously, there were storms already in the area that weren't from the hurricane, so that Monday and Tuesday's dives were canceled. So I decided to stay a night and see if any dives for Wednesday through Friday would be doable. However, the next day, all of the dives for the week had been canceled, so I made the decision to turn around and head back home before Debby moved in and I was stuck up north. At this point, the hurricane had cleared past Tampa, and I had a small window to get through the drive before the storm moved inland and would have flooded the highways. Now, wisdom comes with experience. I learned early on in my diving career to always purchase travel insurance for any trips that I take. This has saved me a lot of money, and I only paid for the one night that I stayed, but the rest of the costs have already been refunded. We actually made a video on the topic of travel insurance for dive trips, and I'll link it up here so that after this video, you guys can go check that out in order to help recoup money in the case of lost travel. Now, as promised, I'm going to share with you the best way to guarantee that you get to dive this wreck. A tip that I was told about from the experts who have dove the U-352 multiple times. At Olympus, the dive sites aren't predetermined like a lot of ours are here in Florida. There are both surface currents and currents at depth, which could cause the dive to be canceled, and it is a little bit of a long boat ride out to the site, so the seas have to be favorable as well. Now, Olympus doesn't plan their dive sites in advance. They are determined the morning of by the captain. However, there is one way to guarantee that with favorable conditions, you will go to the U-352 and it won't surprise you. Patty has a U-352 specialty course. Here you'll go through a course and knowledge workshop where you will learn about the history and the details of the wreck before going out on a predetermined dive trip. Would I put this course in the bullshit specialty courses video? No, I wouldn't. Not because of the predetermined dive trip, but because of all you'll learn about the wreck from people who are experts on it. Again, I'm a history nerd, and I could sit and learn about this stuff every day and be fascinated by it. But we need to be able to realize when there is value in a course. And this course does have the value built into it. If you enjoyed this content or got some educational value, please consider supporting our channel. Just dive down, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and ring that dive bell. Also, if you've ever dove the U-352, let me know down in the comments. How was your experience? Did you do it with Olympus or another shop? If you have any tips or tricks for this wreck, they would be greatly appreciated. And just over here, YouTube really thinks you're gonna like this video, so I'd click on it and check it out. I'll be back next week with another video, but until then, plan your dive and dive your plan.